Happy Saturday, happy Flag Day, happy Worldwide Knit in Public Day, happy all the days. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Michelle with Olive and Two Ewe Studios here typically every Saturday morning at 9:30 Eastern Time to welcome the Yarny Ewes and others who have decided to join us this happy morning. If you're watching me live, thank you so much for being here. I've got a little something special for you I'm going to get to in just a moment. And if you happen to be watching after the fact, welcome to you as well. That's the beauty of YouTube. You can watch anytime at all that it's convenient for you. We're Olive and Two Ewe Studios. And if you haven't already done so, I invite you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like the content at all, or even if you don't, give us a thumbs down, I guess. Give us a thumbs up and hit the bell when you subscribe, so that way you get notifications. I know sometimes people have subscribed and like, but I don't know when you're going live. Hit the bell and you'll get the notifications typically, and that way you don't miss anything. So thank you so much for being here. I see our Yarny Ewes. Lydia's here, Deborah's here, Tisha's here, Tara's here, Kim is here. All the people are here. Katrin, Lonnie, Tracy, Valera, all kinds of people are here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Dion's here. Good morning. Thanks so much, Kim. I appreciate that. This is my novelli, and there's a story about it I'll get to in a little bit. You probably know the story if you've been around any length of time, but if you haven't been, I'll tell you the little story about it. You can't see the bottom. It's got beautiful color work on the bottom and a little bit up here, just some color on the end. But I love this sweater. It's one of my all-time favorites. So thank you so much. Good morning, Jenny. Good to see you too this morning. Teresa's here. Good morning, Susan, Liz. All the people are gathering in. Diane. I love it so much. Okay, we've got stuff to get to, but I want to tell you why I posted that about I've got a little something special for you. From now, actually 9:30 this morning until 11 o'clock Eastern time, from now until 11 o'clock, you're going to want to use code podcast. That's all capitals. It's down in the show notes as well. And you'll get 20% off your order of yarn or notions. Now, there's a caveat. It does not apply to the picnic box or the hurricane pre-orders. It doesn't apply to pre-orders, but it applies to pretty much most other things. So you can go ahead and use that code podcast right now until 11 o'clock Eastern time to get 20% off. That's only good until 11 o'clock. So again, two devices are super helpful on Saturday mornings, or you can pop out of here and come back and whatever you want to do. But all of the yarn, and if you find something that it doesn't apply to, let me know. I'll make sure you get the discount. Always don't run away and be like, but she said it applied to everything and it's not working. You know what? I tell y'all all the time, I'm over 50. I make mistakes. But I will always make them right. So that is what's happening until 11 o'clock today. Use the code podcast, all capital letters, PODCAST. And if you're watching live, you get that. If you're watching later, I'm very sorry. But wanted to do a little something fun for the folks who show up live on Saturday mornings. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It is a big day today. It's Worldwide Knit in Public Day, and it's raining here in Maine. I have to tell you, it's going to be a rainy day all day. There are some local activities, though, for Knit in Public Day. I'm going to try to scoot down to at least one of them at some point, and do a little knitting with some local folks. But I want to see where you're knitting today. So go ahead and post a picture of your public knitting. Gosh, it almost sounds obscene, but it's not. Public knitting today in the Yarny Ewes, so we can see where you're knitting in public. And I definitely encourage you to get out and do that. There are some fundraising things going on today as well, kind of piggybacking on that. And it's always good to help those in the community. So I appreciate all that y'all do for sure. Good morning, Jen and Liz. I love it. Everybody's showing up this morning. So we've got some super fun stuff to get to. And we thought it would be fun because July 4th is coming up and today is Flag Day. Decided to kind of focus on those red, white, and blue yarns kind of for that patriotic spirit. So this is one of the things that you can use that discount if you so desire. Our Patriot yarn, dyed by Sherry and Terry of Lonesome Pine Yarn Works. It is absolutely stunning with that really deep kind of cranberry red, those beautiful blues. And I think some of it already sold out this morning. So you might want to go over and get your hands on some of that. I might have a little more coming into the shop in the next week or so. So I will update the quantities once I confirm that information. But Patriot is stunning. Now, there was an influencer over on Instagram who recently has been stitching up some items with it. She bought a load of it. Like, there was an order that came through for, I think, 10 hanks, and then some coordinating colors. And she was stitching up things for all of her family for the 4th of July. And her projects turned out absolutely beautiful. Then she came back for more. So gorgeous, gorgeous colorway, that Patriot with those beautiful red, white, and blues. Now, I recommend you go with like our blueberry, our Spirit of Freedom. Cranberry Tart is beautiful with this. Any of the other reds, those deep, gorgeous reds. And you can see those products linked down below during the podcast, and then always on the store tab here on YouTube, or you can always just go to the shop and hunt it. Just do a simple search, or you can use the QR code. Just scan it from your phone while it's on the screen. So Patriot, you've still got some time. So if you snag it right now, we'll get it shipped out to you as quickly as possible. And you can either get smaller projects completed by the 4th of July, or you could be stitching on some beautiful red, white, and blue. What better way to accessorize your 4th of July festivities than sitting there stitching in the park on some red, white, and blue? I think it's a great idea. So you can definitely use your code this morning to grab that. I know, like I said, some of the bases already sold out since the newsletter went out this morning. So you'll want to get a hold of that as quickly as possible. And you can absolutely use your code on that. All right, we've got some other fun stuff coming up. I went to a new sewing shop here locally in town that carries yarn. Yes, she does. And so I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. But I want to show you again, Connie Small, the one who gifted me the pillow that I shared last week. She is a crafting machine. She does all the crafts. And this week, Jim and I were delighted by yet something else showing up. And it was absolutely beautiful. And I have to share it with you. So she knows that I have an affinity for all things Scotland, all things Highland coos, all things sheep, and that. She has gotten into, I think it's called diamond painting lately. And she sent me this huge collection of coasters. Let's see how best to focus on it. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to kind of move it around so you can see the shimmer. It is a massive collection. Look at all those coasters. And they're all these different Highland coos. So I'm going to go through them and show you. And tell me that wasn't just super kind. So there's one. And I love the colors too. They're super fun colors. Look at that one. It's kind of matchy-matchy. I coordinate with my Highland coo today. How beautiful is that? Got another one right here with all the flowers on them. I love that with the Highland coos. Look again, kind of coordinated, matchy-matchy. And I've looked into diamond painting, and it is very like intense. You've got these little tiny beads that you have to place, and it takes time. So Connie, thank you again so much for thinking of me. I love the flowers and the contrast. They're so cute. Yes, I'm going to show you all of them because I just think that they are gorgeous. Look at that. I love it so much. One of the super fun things that we do on our trips to Scotland, the last trip, and then we're going to be doing it again this trip, is we go to Kitchen Coos and Ewes, which is a fantastic farm in the Luce Valley in Scotland, over kind of close to Dumfries. And they work on sustainable farming practices and all sorts of things. And they have wonderful Highland coos. They have some sheep as well. And when we went last time, I think we spent, I don't know, about an hour and a half out in their trailer tour. They take us out into the fields, and we get to meet the coos, and we get to pet the coos, and we get to groom the coos and brush them, learn all about them. I know I follow Neil and Janet with Kitchen Coos and Ewes right on Facebook, and they're really great about doing a lot of live videos. They just had some new calves born recently, and they have the super Moodle One of them recently passed away, which was really sad, but I know they've been training another, and they stand on these rocks and you can get these awesome pictures that look like they were like in a magazine. And Neil and Janet and Chase and the rest of the bunch do a fantastic job. And it's so much fun to go. And then after the event, they take us to the farmhouse, and Janet has prepared this whole entire homemade farmhouse spread tea that is some of the best food you've ever put in your mouth. So I can't wait to go back to them, and maybe I'll send Neil a picture of my cool coasters. So looking forward to that. Speaking of Scotland, I can sneak 3 more people in. But I've got to do it by Monday. So I was talking to Kelly over at CIE yesterday, and she's like, yeah, you could Monday, but Monday's the last absolute date. Got 2 people that reached out to me that are working on some things date-wise and are going to be getting in touch with me. So if you were on the fence about going to Scotland, I can still get you in, but you've got to contact me right away. The dates of the trip are September 22nd to October 2nd. You can book your own flights. It's a wonderful tour. And the beauty of it is you get to tour some really neat places in Scotland that you probably wouldn't find on your own. We do all of the fun things like Edinburgh. We're going to go to Glasgow and that sort of thing. But we really take you to the non-touristed areas and take you to see some things that otherwise you might not find on your own. We do spend an appreciable amount of time on Iona, which is a tiny little island, the birthplace of Celtic Christianity. We visit there the Iona craft shop and learn about their sheep on the island. We also go to Ardalanish, the Isle of Mull Weavers, who have become great, great friends of us, of Olive and Two Ewe. And we're so grateful for them. And we do amazing things. So if you want to go, and we've got several married couples that are going, but we've also got singles. We can get you a roommate, or you can go alone, whatever you want to do. Just contact me right away. Like I said, I've got 2 people that I've been talking to that are on the bubble. They're trying to figure out dates. And so contact me as soon as possible. We've got lots of repeat visitors, lots of repeat travelers, and then some new ones. So it's a really great mix of people, and we all have a great time. I think it's cool that we've got some people for whom this will be their 3rd trip with us, and others for whom it'll be their 2nd, and others for whom it'll be their 1st. So I think that's really, really awesome. So let me know as soon as possible about that. But again, Connie, thank you so much for these. I just love them so much. They are fantastic. So today is an exciting day because it's Worldwide Knit in Public Day, and that's exciting, and Flag Day and all the things that we talked about. But tomorrow is the last Fiberside Chat of this particular season, and it's Jen Parroccini. I always struggle with pronouncing it, but she's a genius. All things about sweaters. It's $20 to register. It is a fantastic chat. So if you're interested at all in learning how to stitch up some sweaters, or learning about the intricacies of sweaters, design, patterns, what to look for, and that side of thing, Jen is the person that you want to listen to. The beauty is if you can't attend in person tomorrow, then they'll send you the link, and you have up to a week to go ahead and view it later. So it doesn't have to be within your schedule. Now, the link to sign up to that Fiberside Chat is right down below in the show notes, or you can, of course, find it in the newsletter that went out this morning, and you can go ahead and get signed up. I think you can sign up to 2 hours before the event, and I want to say that's scheduled for 1 o'clock tomorrow, but I'd recommend you go ahead and do it today. When you go to sign up, there's a drop-down menu that asks you who your local yarn shop is. And I would appreciate it if you would choose Olive and Two Ewe Studios as your LYS. We get some support from that, and it's always so much fun when the Yarny Ewe show up. I love it because when I go to the shop meetings, it's been mentioned a couple times, the Yarny Ewes from Olive and Two Ewe show up. And I'm so grateful for the way that you all do that and represent. So thank you for that. You don't want to miss the last Fiberside Chat. And then while you're at it, you can also look down in the show notes and also look in your newsletter for the link to sign up for the Fiberside Summer Yarn Crawl. Y'all, I am shocked when I found out that the All Access Pass was only $10. That is a really, really reasonable rate for everything that you're going to get throughout the Summer Yarn Crawl. It is several weekends of events, and it's like a yarn crawl you can do in your jammies. So that's pretty awesome. You could be sitting at home knitting in your jammies and watching the yarn crawl. You're going to get access to discounts, to patterns, and all kinds of things. So the yarn shops are all making their own presentation videos. Mine is about 80% done. I've got to finish it up this weekend. I was thrown into a little bit of a, okay, I got to do a video. I'm somewhat tech savvy, but a little bit out of my comfort zone. But I have to say it's turning out really well thanks to Monica and some fun things that I've learned about. And so I'm really hopeful. So go ahead and sign up for the Summer Yarn Crawl. You're not going to regret it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And the link, again, is down in the show notes and then, of course, in the newsletter. But discounts? Hello. Who doesn't like a discount? I'm just saying. Discounts are awesome. So you don't want to miss out on that. And we've got some upcoming collaborations. I think I hinted at them last week. I still can't quite tell you who it is, but it's a name that you're going to recognize. And we're excited. It'll be towards the fall that our yarn will be featured in a yarn box coming out. So I'm super excited about that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, it's a name that I think most of you will recognize. It's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, Christmas in July is coming up in July. There's always stuff going on for that. So all kinds of neat things. But I went out on a field trip this week. And it's interesting because as I've been, the studio is in progress still. I know you're tired of me saying that, but it is still in progress. But we're getting there. There's like progress every single day. I've been working on, because I sew too, do machine embroidery and sewing, knitting, crocheting, all the slow stitching, all the things. And so I've been kind of hit in the face with, all the things that are here. In fact, I spent some time this week kind of working on organizing my yarn stash too, but my fabric stash. Because I was talking to Maria yesterday and I was saying, aren't those pretty fabrics, by the way? I just love those fabrics. I think they're gorgeous. I was talking to Maria yesterday and I was like, here's the thing about your crafting space. I don't know if you're anything like me. I'm kind of quirky, as a good friend says. But, I feel like this is my one shot while I'm setting it up. It's kind of my one shot to really get it completely organized, because once everything is put away, then it feels like more of a Herculean effort to be like, okay, I got to get it organized and start pulling things out to reorganize. So I've tried to look at the opportunity of setting things up as my chance to do it right, like the way I want to do it. And exactly, Kim, you are completely right. It takes a while to figure out exactly where you want everything. And I figure it's my one chance to sort of get it all organized the way I want without having to kind of backtrack. Backtracking is fine. And it's okay to go back and change things once you kind of live in your space a while and figure it out. But as I've been working on kind of organizing it, I've become aware of, oh yeah, there was that project. Oh yeah, there was that other project. Because I've got whips in both knitting and sewing, but also some crochet and other things, obviously. So I took myself down this week. I did a little field trip. You might remember I went live from my driveway this week because I was on my way to the Sewing Sanctuary, which is a brand new sewing shop here in Bridgeton, and they do carry yarn. And I wanted to meet the owner and chat with her. And I walked in at just the right time. Nobody else was in the shop yet. And we got to chat. She found out that I have a hand-dyed yarn company, and she's like, oh, we definitely have to talk. I need more yarn in the shop and I need beautiful yarn. So we're chatting about that. We're going to be meeting hopefully again this next week. We got to set up an appointment, but it is the Sewing Sanctuary. It turns out I'm probably going to be teaching some classes there. So the Sewing Sanctuary, she gave me this beautiful bag that she has, and really nice. And I'll show you what I bought, because of course I had to buy things. So I know this is a yarn podcast. We're going to get back to yarn, but I was really tickled about this that I bought. She's really looking, her name is DJ, the owner, and she's going to be doing some classes and things. I don't know how much of this it's big. It's a panel. So if you quilt at all, you might know a little bit about panels, but let me see if I can. How pretty is that? I love it. And I knew immediately, let me see if I can kind of scroll it up so you can see the whole thing. I was like, I bet that is the designer, J. Wecker Fresh. It's Riley Blake fabric. But I was like, is that J. Wecker Fresh? And they went over and looked at it and they're like, yep, sure is. And I'm like, yeah, I love her stuff. I can spot her stuff anywhere. And so I have this really cool panel now. Let me fold it because I don't want to, like, you got to keep things neat and organized. And then I bought this other kind of coordinating fabric. I'm not going to undo it for you, but I'll kind of show it to you. And it's got sewing machines that look an awful lot like Singer featherweights. And if you know me and have been around, you know that I've got a couple featherweights and I've done rehab and maintenance things on featherweights. So that kind of goes with it as well. So super fun. Looking forward to hanging out at the Sewing Sanctuary more. And who knows, maybe we'll do some fun events there. DJ was super nice, and her husband Michael, and I know that they've got a little something going on for Worldwide Knit in Public today as well. So I think that's really cool. She happens to be a military veteran, which I think is awesome. I come from a military family. My dad was in the Air Force, so we had quite a bit in common. So it was a lot of fun. So good morning, Cindy. Happy Worldwide Knit in Public Day to you. Absolutely. So that was something really fun that I got to spend some time on this week and go and meet her. It's always a delight. And then I was on my way to Good Karma Yarn and Soap. I've been there a couple times. They do circular sock machines, and then they also make soap, hence the name, Jim and Amy. And it's right here in Bridgeton. It's a really neat little yarn shop. And I was going to go by because they had advertised, Amy's been making soap for a long, long time. And they said they had a soap that they made that repelled the bugs. They said they haven't worn chemicals in 32 years because this soap did the trick. Well, as you can imagine, because we're buying all the things to repel the bugs, I was going to take my little hiney right up there and grab a bar, but they were closed that day because they were actually on their way or already at a Crankin in Connecticut. So I'm hoping today I can kind of stop by and grab up some of that soap. I know that Katie was like, oh, let me know if it works. I will let all the people know if it works because I will be singing the praises. So I do plan to stop by Good Karma Yarn and Soap today as well. And maybe they've got something going on for Knit in Public Day. I'm not really sure. But anyway, so that was kind of my little field trips today. And I think it would be a lot of fun. Kim, I agree. It sounds like a good place to go during a retreat. And I might have hinted. I always get myself in trouble. Y'all know that. I say things like too quickly. But I'm in the very baby stages. Somebody messaged me. Actually, a couple people messaged me and was like, so when's that retreat? Can I get on the list? I'm in the very baby stages of working on retreat planning for something up here at one of the inns. And maybe coordinating it with some of the local fiber events, that sort of thing. I think it would be fun. So absolutely. So there's no waiting list yet, but thanks for asking. As soon as there's some concrete plans, I will let you know, and we'll go ahead and get a list started and open it up and see what happens. So I'm really excited about doing something fun like that up here. I think it would be great. There's definitely a lot of fiber and a lot of fun up here. Lydia, repels bugs, bring some south. Absolutely. Well, hey, if it works, I'm pretty sure they'll sell it right on their website and you can get in on that. That's why I'm going to go check it out. I like to bring you all the good stuff, right? Okay. Speaking of good stuff, why don't we go ahead and take a look at the whips? There are definitely some really cool things that you guys have been working on and thankfully posting in the Yarny Use. We love, love, love seeing the whips. All right, let's see. Which end are we going to start on? Let's start on this with Mary Nielsen. She said she had to do a bit of ninja knitting, but all is well. She didn't tell me what the pattern is. I have a sneaky notion I might know what it is, but I didn't want to post the link to it until I confirmed that. But I'm definitely seeing some cabling going on, and I'm pretty sure there's some Celtic cables, and I'm hoping that's going to go to Scotland with her in that beautiful green. But cabling is beautiful, and knitting cables is not difficult. It looks complicated. I will say it might be a little more complicated to tink back cables. So I'm impressed with a little bit of ninja knitting on that. And then Jamie has stepped out of her comfort zone and she completed her first double knit item. It was a cozy and it was a mouse. She said she liked it better as a wristband. Jamie, I couldn't quite see the pattern that this was. So if you want to post that in the Yarny Use, I would appreciate that. But I'm impressed. And I think a a cozy or a wristband is just the right size to practice a new skill like double knitting. I haven't attempted double knitting yet myself, but I've seen quite a few people who have, and it is on my list. Well done on that. I love that little mouse. Jamie completed another project this week. She's another one of our super fast knitters. Look at this, the Moonglade tee. You might remember last week she was in process with it, and it turned out absolutely beautiful. Plus, you're a great model. I love that pose because we can see all the parts of that, and I love that detail at the bottom, and it looks like there's some gorgeous detail on the sleeves. I'm curious if that's a bottom-up sweater. I did post the link to the patterns down below in the show notes. So if you're interested in any of those, I haven't had a time to really look deeply at that pattern though, but I'm curious if it's bottom up or top down. Let me know in the comments below if you're watching or even later watching, whether you prefer top down or bottom up. And I'll talk about that when we're done with the whips. Next up, Gail. She had second sock syndrome. The goal was to finish the second sock by July 1st. I hope she's well on her way. That's the Cozy Autumn Socks by Handmade Life. And of course, that pattern link is also down below in the show notes. Well done, Gail. We're all pulling for you to get it done by July 1st. You can do it for sure. Jamie also finished off, well, I think she finished it. I'm not sure. It's a cross stitch project. She's another one of those multi-crafters, as many of us are. It's called Cozy Nest, and it features a crow knitting. How cute is that? Now, down below in the show notes, I actually link you to an Etsy shop that carries that pattern. So if you're into cross stitch, there you go. A crow knitting. How could that be any more fun? I think that's awesome. All right, next up is a project that I have finished once before. And again, Jamie's at it. This is the Alaska. And it is such a fun color work project. I think it's a great color work project for somebody who's interested in kind of dipping their toe in the color work pond. It turns out really beautiful. You get a lot of bang for your buck if you use a really nice high contrast with it. So she is knitting this up for her sister. So her sister only crochets. So Jamie's being kind enough to knit that. And I love, love, love your color choices on that. Traveling Solo by Joji Locatelli. Lonnie finished that off. It looked like it was on the blocking mat. So you'll need one skein of fingering weight yarn, which makes it the perfect pattern if you have some stash yarn that maybe you just have one hank of and it hasn't spoken to you yet. You could like whisper traveling solo to it and see if it raises its little hanky hand and says it wants to become that, because that is a really cool pattern. And everyone knows that Joji is a fantastic designer. Mary Nielsen again. Now this was really fun. This was a sock blank that she got in one of our 12 Days of Christmas boxes about 3 years ago, somewhere between 2 and 4 years ago, but we were thinking it was probably about 3 years ago. It's a sock blank. It took the place of the full hank in the 12 Days of Christmas box, and she cranked herself up some socks. It's a double knit sock blank, which the beauty of those is you can do socks or mittens or anything like that that's kind of a split project with two pieces, a pair, and they come out identical because it's a double knit sock blank. If you're curious and you don't know what a sock blank is, let us know in the Yarny Use or down below in the comments, and maybe we'll do a little something about sock blanks again in the future. How cool is that? I love that so much. And then she, of course, did some contrast on the cuffs and toes and probably the heels, though we can't see the heels there. So that is really cool. And then Julie Garland, she completed some socks for a cousin who's dealing with some health challenges, which is super kind. And these are vanilla socks. And this was in Skeens Ridge, a beautiful colorway, kind of an homage to their home, dyed up by Sherry and Terry of Lonesome Pine Yarn Works. She did a new to her heel on this. And if I'm not wrong, I think one of our Yarny Use shared that heel with her, which is one of the huge benefits of participating in the Yarny Use Facebook group, because you get to kind of hear from other Yarny Use and they give suggestions and give you ideas. And I think it's a great way to kind of just, stay on top of all the things that are happening, new things that you might enjoy, because the other Yarny Use are there to kind of help you out. Tell me if I'm wrong about that, Julie, or am I right? Was it another Yarny You who gave you the idea for that slip stitch heel? So I think that's really, really neat. Again, another benefit of being part of the Yarny Use. And if you're not already in there, I bet you are if you're watching live, but if you're not, we invite you to join the Yarny Use Facebook group. There are no politics and no drama, really. We'll be 8 years old in July. Do you believe that? Our anniversary is coming up in July. We'll be 8 years old. And I tell people, and it's true, I can count on one hand, I think literally it's 5 times that I've had to remove comments from the group because it didn't adhere to the rules. And I think all the times it was people who were brand new and didn't kind of know the culture in the Yarny Use. But everybody knows there's no drama and no politics. And it really does make it a lovely oasis on the interwebs, as people say. So you can post all the positive things and you don't have to worry about drama or politics. So the link to do that is right down below in the show notes. If you haven't already joined the Yarny Use, we invite you to do so. Okay, so Jamie answered my question. So her Moonglade tee is top down. Yay for top down. So I'm going to tie this in. Maybe one day I will change my mind, but I am a top down girl all the way. And the sweater that I'm wearing today happens to be the reason. So the Novelli, the link to it is down below in the show notes if you haven't looked at it. It is a bottom up sweater because there's this beautiful color work at the bottom. What the heck? I'm going to stand up and try to show you if I can. Let's see here. I'll have to raise it up a little bit. There's this gorgeous, gorgeous color work right down here at the bottom that is beautiful. And it's what drew me to the Novelli. I fell in love with it because I loved sort of the drama and the contrast and the just the color of it, and the fact that you could do it in like more neutral tones or brighter tones. And I, at the time, was in my bright era. And so I went for the brighter colors. The color work was easy peasy. The color work was great. And it was a bottom up sweater. It was my first bottom up sweater that I had ever begun. So I was rolling through the color work, doing fine and doing really, really well. And then I was, coming up the sides. And then I got to where you had to split for the sleeves. And then I got to where it started getting wonky because I wasn't used to bottom up sweater construction. And we all know we tend to gravitate to what we're comfortable with and what we know. I was not comfortable with it. I didn't know it. I did my best to learn it and I put it down. Well, once I put it down, I couldn't find out where I was exactly. And I picked it up a couple more times and couldn't manage it. So the Novelli became a running joke in the Yarny Use. If you're here and you're in the Yarny Use, you know it was just a running joke. Everybody's like, where's Michelle's Novelli? Where's the Novelli? And I was like, I couldn't find it for a while. We had gone to our following retreat at Barnsley, and there were all kinds of awesome Yarny Use there, and we had a good time. And I had taken it because I was going to work on it. And I had finally decided, okay, we're going to sit down and I'm going to get some help to find out exactly where I'm at. It disappeared. I came home and I could not find my Novelli anywhere. And I was in a little bit of a panic. But if I'm honest, I was also a little relieved because I was like, well, if I can't find it, then I can't finish it and I'm off the hook. But I was still a little stressed because I had put in a fair amount of work to it. So that was in November of that year. Well, several months later, we had a yarn lounge that was scheduled. Yarn lounge, if you're not familiar with it, is an event that we used to do quarterly in Florida. We would travel to a different craft brewery and offer a limited vendor yarn market from vendors with hand-dyed yarn or notions, fibercraft accessories all over the state. We did Miami, we did Tampa, we did Orlando, we did Vero Beach, we did Bradenton, Sarasota, just all kinds of craft breweries. After the pandemic, it got a little less regular, and Yarn Lounge is not gone. I'm just saying, I've got plans for Yarn Lounge in Florida, so it's not gone. But we had a Yarn Lounge event. Well, if you've ever been to one, you know how it goes. And if you haven't been, I'll tell you, I typically MC it and I'm up there kind of acting the fool, as they say, but I have a good time. It's a lot of fun. And I'm kind of in control of the MC mic and all the things. And all of a sudden, somebody starts coming up and wants the mic. Well, they presented to me my completed Novelli. It was all done. And what had happened was somebody, I suspect Maria Klein, but I don't know. Somebody had pinched or stolen my Novelli with a good intention during the retreat. Somehow they mailed it. They had a plan with the Yarny U's, and it went through several Yarny U's. I think ending up in the end, I think Lydia was the last Yarny U to touch it. And together they conspired to finish my Novelli. And in fact, they finished my Novelli and they presented it to me at Yarn Lounge. And I was gobsmacked, utterly shocked, utterly humbled as well, because as I was telling a friend the other day, anytime somebody does something kind for me, I'm so appreciative, but I'm also so humbled. I'm not really good at accepting things, to be honest, but very appreciative and very humbled. And I think I cried. I was really, really, really blown away. It was just one of the kindest things that anybody had done. And then I got to wear my Novelli. So I wear this with the fondest and best memories of the Yarny U's and what is capable when what not what's capable, what is possible when capable people get together and do all the kind things, because that was definitely a community effort. Absolutely, Tara, the sweater elves for sure. It was this whole like conspiracy that occurred, but I was really, really, really grateful for it. So yeah, Lydia, she says that sweater has more miles on it than a Boeing 747. So many Yarny U's touched it and participated and worked on it. And every time I wear it, it just feels like this awesome hug, this hug of love. And it's why I'm just so incredibly grateful for the Yarny U's. I'm grateful for your support of the business, and not just of the support of the business, but for support of me and the people in the business. And you guys are, Monica and all the people, the Yarny U's are so supportive and so kind, and it means the world. So that's the story of the Novelli, and it's the story of why I don't really ever intend on doing a bottom-up sweater again. Now, I have to admit, I've been tempted a couple times. There have been a few, even in the last 3 months, that I've looked at. And I'm like, oh, I really want to do that, but it's a bottom up. I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe I need to take a workshop with someone who teaches bottom up techniques, but I'm kind of a top down girl right now. So the Moonglade tee that you completed, that was awesome. And I'm kind of glad to hear that it is, top down, Jamie, because that means I could actually do that one if I wanted to. So I love it. Tara says frequent yarn miles. Exactly. Frequent yarn miles. I love it so much. So that's kind of the story of the Novelli and how all that happened. So it is definitely just this really, really huge sort of hug that I get to wear. So thank you so much. So it is 10:10 a.m. You have, 50 minutes left to use your special discount code today. Podcast, all capital letters, gets you 20% off on yarn. It does not apply to pre-orders, so not the picnic box or the hurricane yarn. But I do want to mention that the picnic box the picnic box pre-order has been going really, really well. That pre-order closes tomorrow evening. The Happy Summer, Happy Stitching, Cool Stitching, and Delicious Yarns picnic box, that pre-order closes tomorrow. And I've already got one of the vendors working on something, and I'm going to hint to you. This is one of those boxes that is pretty much packed to the gills, and there is some really neat stuff in it, but there might be a little something to carry your somethings in. So that's all I'm saying about that. So many of you have ordered it, and I'm so grateful. I think you're going to love it. The colorway, I know exactly what it is. It's one I've been salivating after ever since I saw it. And I went to Sherry and Terry and I was like, please, 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 can we include this in the picnic box? And they said, yes, of course. And it's gorgeous. So go ahead and get your order in for that. I'm not able to discount that with the 20% because we're really close to the gills on that anyway. But it is going to be a beautiful box and you don't want to miss out on it. I will tell you that the graphic absolutely has something to do with the colorway. So I think you're going to love it. And it is juicy and just delightful. So don't miss out on that. You can use the QR code or of course, it is linked down below in the products, or you can simply use the link in your newsletter or go to the website and search picnic, and it'll pop right up for you. And then again, tomorrow, we're going to be closing out the 2025 hurricane season. Throw some color on that storm Topstone colorway to get ready for our hurricane mystery colorways. We know that hurricanes sadly typically impact every single year. And while we always take them seriously, we also have a tradition and a history in the group of doing fun things during hurricanes and impending hurricanes to kind of get our minds off of it. So we usually do some mystery colorways. The Yarny U's always ask for them, and we are at the ready. But we're going to start off this series this going to need, because hopefully there are no big storms. So that is what I'm saying about that. We don't want a bunch of storms. Hey, talking about technical difficulties, last week, woo, was that a ride or what with all the technical difficulties? That was crazy, right? So here's what ended up happening. I did go back in. Am I back? Can you see me? Can you not see me? I did go back in later and redid the video. So if you haven't already seen it, you'll want to go back and see that. I did edit it all together. So do keep that in mind. It was definitely there. So you'll be able to go ahead and see last week's podcast in its entirety. I had a little fun editing it. So I'll just tell you, if you stuck around last week live and you did see the whole podcast and you don't really want to review it, it would be a lot of fun to go back and review it. Look at about the 11-minute mark. I did a little creative editing there. So I think you'll get a kick out of it. And who knows, maybe I'll have to do it again this week because something crazy just happened, but I'm glad that I'm back. So sorry about that. These are like unprecedented technological issues, but thankfully it can all be fixed and taken care of. All right. Well, happy Knit in Public Day. Happy Flag Day. Definitely happy Saturday. I'm Michelle. I'm here every Saturday, typically at 9:30 in the morning Eastern time. If you're watching live, I so appreciate you. And if you're watching later, I appreciate you as well. Do please give us a thumbs up. It really helps us out in a way that is intangible, but definitely does give us a boost. And if you like what you see here, copy the link to our channel and maybe share it around in your knit and crochet groups on Facebook or with your friends so we can get more subscribers. We're a little over 10,000 now, which is awesome, but the more the merrier. It's always a lot of fun. So thank you to the Yarny U's. So grateful for all of you, EWE and YOU. Don't forget, go ahead and use your code so you can get your 20% off until 11 o'clock today. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you in the Yarny U's. Take care. Bye-bye.